Authentic confidence kind of comes from being very strategic clarity, in my opinion, not performance. So being very quiet, being very thoughtful, and just kind of listening to a bunch of people, in my opinion. When I look at people who are very loud, very obnoxious, trying to be the big presence in the room, that to me just kind of showcases more performance, if anything. And that to me is kind of what is a big differentiator. So being very calm, quiet, collective is something that I kind of look for in authentic confidence.
Welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome to another episode of You Are You Unapologetically. We're that podcast where we celebrate your journey and remind you to show up fully in your life, fully in your purpose, and fully in your dreams, authentically and unapologetically. That's who we are. I'm just saying. Today's episodes, my friends, is called Give Me 15 Minutes to Make You Authentically Confident. That's all I need. Give me 15 minutes. Yes. Now, let me ask you something. How many times have you told yourself, I'll speak up when I feel more ready? Or I'll apply when I feel more qualified? What about I'll show up when I feel more confident? But that moment never comes. Because confidence isn't something that magically appears one day. No, it's not about how you look either. It's not about how many accomplishments you have. Nope. It's not about followers, titles, likes, or applause. Real confidence is internal. That's right. It's internal. It's knowing who you are. And I like to add whose you are. But knowing who you are, owning your values, owning everything about you, owning it, and showing up without shrinking. That's right. That's what I said. Showing up without shrinking. So today, we're talking about the kind of confidence that doesn't perform. No. Instead, it anchors. Yes, it anchors. The kind of confidence that doesn't beg for approval. It simply exists. And the best part, you don't need a year. You don't need a course. You don't need to fix yourself because you're not broken. No, sometimes it just takes a few intentional mindset shifts. That's right, mindset shifts. So today, this day, we're giving you the tools to begin building authentic confidence, starting right now, this very moment. Ready for it? Let's go. So many people walk through life doubting themselves. I used to do it, so I know. Doubting myself, I was second guessing my ideas. I downplayed my strength, and I was sitting around waiting for permission, waiting to feel good enough, waiting to feel as if that I'm valued. We've been conditioned to shrink, to fit in, to not be too loud, which I'm loud and I'm proud, too bold, or too much. All of that is me. Yeah. But authentic confidence isn't arrogant. Not at all. Because, some people will say, oh, you're too loud, right? Or you're too or you're too bold, or you're just too much. And it may come off, some people who don't know how to manage it right, it may come off as arrogance. But authentic confidence isn't arrogant. Nope, not at all. It's alignment. It's saying, I know who I am. I know who I am. I know who I am. I trust myself. I don't need to pretend. And I tell people, I don't know how to be phony. I don't know how to be fake. Because when you know who you are, you don't have time to be fake. You can't be fake and you can't pretend. There's no need. And this conversation that we're having, it matters. It matters greatly because too many people are waiting for a perfect moment to finally feel confident. When the truth is, confidence is built one small decision at a time. You have to make the decision. So if you've been waiting for that moment where you can feel confident, if you've been waiting, this episode is your sign to stop waiting. That's what this episode is. It's your sign to stop waiting. So you guys, you know, and I'm always going to stick with this, that I find the most phenomenal guests to come onto our podcast. And I have another one. I did it again. But before I go into detail telling you all of the amazing things about our guests, I have to tell you the 411. So our guest today is the CEO, Chief Intelligence Strategist, and co-founder of CCMC Advanced Technologies Incorporated, a company dedicated to helping organizations make proactive decisions in order to optimize growth and mitigate disruptions. Through CCMC's predictive intelligence platform, Prometheus, our guest and his team provides information arbitrage by detecting early signals, predictive forecasting, and fostering scenario awareness for governments, enterprises, and financial institutions operating in high uncertainty environments. Rather than waiting until after potential disaster occur to react, his work focuses on identifying trends in advance, giving decision makers much needed time, clarity, and strategic advantage. Our guest's approach blends macroeconomics, geopolitics, financial markets, public policy, history, and human behavior to translate complex global signals into actionable insights. His core belief is that organizations do not collapse from a lack of information, but rather from a failure to pull meaning from the information they already have. As Chief Intelligence Strategist, our guest designs systems that convert weak signals into potential data to support executive level decision making, such as early warning frameworks and systemic risk analysis. Under his leadership, CCMC has also developed multiple patent pending innovations in forecasting and complex system modeling, strengthening the company's long-term strategic foundation. At the heart of our guest work is a simple mission: provide strategic foresight, reduce surprises, and help organizations operate ahead of the curve, not behind it. Our guest, he loves biking and currently resides and lives in Chicago with his loving family. Oh my goodness, you guys, please help me welcome Mario Tovar Jr. to You Are You Unapologetically podcast. Woo! Yes. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much, Mario. Thank you. Quick question. Did I pronounce your name right?
Yeah, you did. And thank you so much. I really appreciate this. This is a wonderful opportunity.
Because, I know and my listeners know that I can chop up a name and I'll get it wrong. And I don't want to do that, right? Because my name is simple. It's just K-I-M. You can't mess that up. So welcome, my friend. Welcome. Thank you for being here. So before we jump all into this juicy conversation we're having, can you please share with our listeners how the two of us met?
Absolutely. We met at a advisor sort of like gathering where we're talking with other leaders and basically kind of sharing what our ups and downs have been for the year. We met last year, right before Christmas and whatnot, and we had a very good conversation. And hearing about how wonderful and how you approach things very strategically, very calming, and very thoughtfully was something that really kind of gravitated towards you for. And then on top of that as well. You gave me an opportunity to provide a intelligence report for you and your company, and so, being able to help you out there, getting to know you a little bit more, and hopefully providing better, decision strategies. It's something I really, really care about. So, yeah, all of
Yes,
this has been wonderful to get to know
yes,
you.
yes. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And the session we were on together was magnificent. And so thank you. I'm so glad that you were on there too, because I love meeting people and we were able to meet on that session. So thank you. Thank you again. Okay. So to start us off, I want to ask a big question. We hear the word confident all the time, but people define it so differently. So, Mario, what does authentic confident mean to you? And how is it different from the confidence most people chase?
Absolutely. To me, authentic confidence kind of comes from being very strategic clarity, in my opinion, not performance. So being very quiet, being very thoughtful, and just kind of listening to a bunch of people, in my opinion. That's kind of what I think about when authentic confidence. To me, on top of that as well, when I look at people who are very loud, very obnoxious, trying to be the big presence in the room, that to me just kind of showcases more performance, if anything. And that to me is kind of what is a big differentiator. So being very calm, quiet, collective is something that I kind of look for in authentic confidence.
And I hear in what you're saying is like, being yourself, right? Like that's what I hear you saying. So let me ask you, I think a lot of people struggle silently with self-doubt. They don't want to tell, right? So they struggle silently with it. They look confident on the outside, right? But on the inside, they're questioning everything. So why do you think so many people struggle to truly believe in themselves and their abilities?
I think it's because of how we're taught mostly. Outcomes are very important versus, believing in yourself and, what your expertise is. For me, at least, it just depends on, a lot of factors that play there. Uh, I was taught to be identify your own strengths and weaknesses. And so many people, I guess, don't really look at that. They try to be everything. I want to control all these things. And to me, I used to be like that, well, a long time ago. And I had struggled from that my own issue. So just being able to identify those like perceptions versus that perspective sort of mindsets to kind of help out with that.
Wow. And it's truly, like you said, like authentic when you can, again, be yourself. Like I always say, and my listeners know, the easiest thing to do is to be you, right? Because nobody can do better than you. So thank you. And so now let's talk about confidence killers. There are also some confidence stealers, but let's just talk about the killers. What are some of the biggest things you've seen that destroy confidence? And how can we start overcoming these things? How can that happen?
Absolutely. For me, at least, and this I'm speaking from my perspective, and I'm happy
Please.
to go into more. For me, the biggest confidence killers are like these psychological irrationalities, such as denialism, confirmation bias, and cognitive dissonance. And regard
Wait. You got to say that again. Please. Please.
Absolutely. It's these basic, human behavior at the end of the day. Cognitive dissonance, confirmation bias, and denialism. And this can happen in any direction, whether it's because of gender, sexuality, or even age. Everybody's going to go through this at some point. For me, it was my age, where a lot of people were looking at me saying, who are you? You're just a little kid, go back to what you're doing. How can you learn such complex systems? And I've been studying it for quite a while, to say the least. And so whenever I would talk to people right away, if, my confidence may be perceived as arrogance, or if I'm challenging somebody, I may be difficult or even emotional. And so to me, those are the people that I've learned to just kind of quietly step back from, smile and nod, and then go find another person who's just as amazing as you, who is actually willing to open up and, embrace, new information and, trust and verify.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most important thing. And so one of the things that's a huge confidence killer is the emotionality of it. Emotions are very contagious, and that's really human nature at its finest.
Yes.
And so where I would see my other team members, for instance, they might be uncertain about one thing, and the minute that they hear from another business person who may have more experience than me, more money than me, saying you're not ready, off of a 30-second conversation or 30-minute conversation, right away it's like, oh, what do we do? What do we do wrong? And then that emotion just spreads rapidly. And so to me, understanding the differences of, is this person an expert in their field, or is this somebody that's applying their own expertise in a different sector, a different domain to mine? And so that's where I have to remind my team, hey guys, this was unjustified. This was not okay. Let's rebuild this up. And to me, it's just understanding those basic, those little distinctions, if you will.
Yes, yes, yes.
And so exactly. And so for me, I went from shifting my mindset. It's a huge mindset thing. Going from, am I really worth it, to more or
Wow.
less, am I learning from this experience? Am I smarter and better from last time? I don't like to compete with other people. Is a terrible race to do, but I mostly compete with myself. And so
Right.
I want to make sure I'm doing something better every day, every month, and that I'm always, 10 steps ahead in that regard. And so, working to understand who my teammates are, understanding how they think is super important
Yes.
to hopefully provide that reassurance. If you're a leader, as you know, Kim, we're constantly having to provide that reassurance to the people on our team to make sure that they
Absolutely.
feel okay.
Absolutely.
Um, and just having to have that, mindset as a leader of, oh, discerning those little hiccups. Perfect. This is something that I could easily walk away from, find somebody different, and hopefully meeting wonderful people.
Absolutely. So, and I love you said emotionalism, which is huge, and you said it was contagious. And as an emotional wellness life coach, right? You nailed it there. One of the things that I know and that I've learned is that we attach our emotions to everything. Let a bird fly by. We're gonna attach our emotions. Oh, that bird's beautiful. Oh no, what's that? Right? And so I get that. And then investing in your team and letting them know, right, that they are important, that they're valuable, and that they matter. All of that plays a key role as well. And so thank you so much for that. I really appreciate. I love that answer. So there's also this, and I think you mentioned it as well, performative version of confidence, where people just perform and act like they're, confident, but they fake it till they make it, right? That type of performative version of confidence. How do we tell, and how do you tell the difference between confidence that's just for show and confidence that comes from real self-acceptance?
Absolutely. For me, it's more of a reactive and proactive sort of thing. And this is something that I kind of practice. I know my limitations. And so identifying people that know their limitations, that they can't be an expert in all these fields, that to me is something that's super important. And so if I'm ever in a meeting or negotiating with anything, at least, if I don't know the answers, I'll even remind my CTO or my COO, I'm gonna, let me get back to you in 24 to 48 hours. I have a subject matter expert here who knows way more than me, or even that too. When I start a conversation, I'll say I'm on the business and legal front. I'm not somebody technical, and so those are really important to me. Most of the time too, where there is a healthy amount of fake it till you make it, and I think it's knowing your limitations.
Absolutely.
Most people will fold under pressure and they want to answer all those questions, and that's where I stumble into like these sort of stress tests where I'm talking to somebody that's trying to tell me they know more than me. I'm nodding and shaking my head. And then it's like, oh, you said this wrong. And to me, that's just where, okay, now you're trying to really be, that sort of false sense of confidence. And so that collapses right under pressure. They might unintentionally, make a deal where they weren't coordinating with the technical team and now they're under pressure trying to get this project out or something along those lines. And to me, that's what's really important. And so one of the lessons that I've learned, and I highly recommend anybody to read this book, it's by Simon Sinek. It's called The Infinite Game. And to me, this was a very valuable lesson where there are two types of games. There are those that are finite games. Think of soccer, Monopoly, the board game that has a set objective, set rules, and a set number of players. And then there's the infinite game, in which the game goes on forever. There are players known and unknown. There are only the only way to survive the game, if you will, is having enough resources to play or the willpower to play. And so being able to identify one, I'm not competing with anybody, I'm only competing with myself is super important. And maintaining my strategic, mindset. Like it's a giant game of chess where if I'm going against somebody and I know that I don't have the leverage to make these demands, I'm not going to do so. It's just not in my best interest. In addition to that as well, I like to do a win-win where I play very ethically. And so if I'm, working with another partner or working with another investor, I want us both to succeed in the long run, and so that we're able to continue playing the game, get more resources. And if there are competitors out there that are challenging me, you know, going against somebody else, I want to compare myself to Apple or Google. You're playing a finite game at that point, which is going to end. And so continuing to just set goals for yourself, making sure you're doing something better, you're learning from these things, allows you to outpace any competitors, in my opinion, and you're able to play the long game, which is like super critical for me.
Absolutely. And what I loved is that you said you know your limitations. Like you know that. And so it's like it's also you can stay in, you know how to stay in your lane. And I tell my team all the time, I don't have to be the biggest fish in this pond. I surround myself with big fish. So I don't have to know it all at all. And the fact that you said knowing your limitation, I think that was so powerful. So powerful because so many people are exhausting themselves trying to perform confidence instead of simply being themselves. And like I said before, the easiest thing for anyone to do is to be themselves. Like I say, be you. And that's why I came up with You Are You Unapologetically, because I realized it is so easy for me to be me. It is so easy. So thank you for that. So here, I love to give our listeners something practical. So if someone's listening right now says, okay, I want to start today in working in my confidence. I want to do this today and making a difference. Can you share one simple exercise or a habit that you have, but that they can do today? Maybe even in like 15 minutes, doesn't have to be anything long, but to begin building authentic confidence.
Absolutely. And to give some background, I'm 26, so I started my journey a little bit ago. So first is identifying who you are as a person, I think is the most important thing. A lot of our decision making is influenced by past actions. And so being able to, one, study yourself. Why am I making these sort of things? Because like for me, I was making really bad decisions when I was younger. And so I wanted to, drill in on what led me to this point. Who am I? What are my strengths and weaknesses? And that was a huge thing for me that allowed me to really feel less stressed out. And so that's where I now know I'm not good at math. I'm not good at accounting. And so I'm going to find my partners who are better at me at my weaknesses. And then I imagine they're probably not going to be as good as where I'm at with my strengths so that we can lean on each other. And that to me is going to be the most important factor. It's just trusting your team, trusting those that know more than you, because at the end of the day, what's business if you can't trust? And so that's going to be very important. And another thing that I like to do now is I'm a leader, and just like you are, Kim, we have to be very strong, we have to be very confident, but we're still human at the end of the day. And exactly. And so there are some things I cannot just talk about to some of my my employees or my teammates, because they need to see a strong leader. So I have to work with my partners who are at the same C-suite level with me, or going to these advisor calls where we get to release that sort of stress, or even talk to my therapist. And so I now ground myself when I'm getting overwhelmed. I do a couple tactics. One is I'll say, what's today's date? So what's the present date? What's my name? What's my age? Where am I at? And that kind of helps me to stop thinking so far into the future and just be here. Or another thing that I like to do is being able to ground myself with identifying my my body, where it's like if my heart rate's increasing, heart or pulse increasing, shortness of breath, and heat rising. And that to me is another way where I identify that I'm anxious, I'm feeling this sort of way, so that I'm able to kind of stop myself from spiraling, and then I'm able to really be calm and collective. Yeah. So those are some of the things that really help me, and I feel like it'll help out a lot of people once they've identified that they can't be a Superman. They can't be all these things. It's just you're a person. Build a remarkable team of people that you trust and who are just as ethical as you are.
Absolutely. And I love the ethical part as well, because integrity is huge, right? And so many people are willing to live outside of it, you know? And so, so thank you for saying that as well. That because of the what you share, I love you said knowing who you are, right? Like that's such a great reminder, like your identity, knowing that. It's a great reminder that confidence isn't built through huge leaps, right? It's built through small intentional actions. So it's not something huge. It's just something small, and doing something small and being able to, like you said, check in with yourself. What's my name? What time of the day it is? Like, where am I at? You know, checking your heart rate and how you breathe as well. That's all a part of getting present to the moment, right? To what's going on. Because what you said was, you stop so that you can stop your mind from being in the future and thinking future, in a sense, because sometimes that's what brings on some stress, right? But be present, and being present is what helps you to focus on the moment. So before we wrap up, I want to ask you this: what is the most important piece of advice that you would give to someone who is still waiting for that perfect moment for them to finally feel confident? What is that one piece of advice?
I would like to say that looking around, everybody is very worried. Everybody's very cautious. That's everybody. That's just human nature at its finest. And we all fear the unknown. We're pattern-based creatures, and so when it comes to jumping out of what is perceived to be stable and deviates from that routine is going to be crucial for anybody. And so if you're not able to put your back against the wall, somebody else is going to do that. If you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out, you're never going to be able to succeed. And so that other person, that may be me or maybe somebody else out there that's taking that huge gamble, is going to be, take on that risk, is going to go at it full force. And that's what's going to be very important. And so, again, it's also recognizing that you're going to have to jump ship if you truly believe, if you're truly passionate. That's what's going to allow other people to kind of follow you. And to me, as a leader, I think going back a little bit to the prior question, being ethical, it starts from the very top and it works its way down. And so to me, it's super, super important that you're establishing those sort of ideas already. And so for me, as somebody that's coming into this, I have a mission, I have a vision, and I have a promise. And to me, knowing that my team trusts my word, they've seen the work that I put in, and I'm able to provide them the stability and security that they need, is what has allowed us to go full force at this. And so, to me, again, making sure that you have a good strategy compared to other people, you're talking to the right experts, get attorneys, going out there to do that sort of intelligence gathering, to where it's like, oh, my idea, like these CEOs or these governments, they're not doing this, they think it's not real, is going to be the most important factor that allows you to double down strategically. If you're, again, like, to me, there have been so many times where I felt like my work, somebody else is doing it, and that's, again, that perception versus perspective, where I'm unintentionally thinking that somebody else is going to think like me, versus, no, I've gathered enough intelligence to know that these people aren't thinking this way. And so it's being able to identify what is real versus what is just my emotions making me afraid, and being able to just jump right into this full force, and having my mission where many people around me now see my vision. As the CEO, that's kind of I'm the visionary, and so clearly laying that out with the proper strategy, people are going to come in and just help execute, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah, so I love it, and even as we speak more and more about like emotions, right, and not what was I was reading? Oh, I was reading something. I can't think off the top of my head, but he was saying, do not allow your emotions to drive, right?
Yes, yes.
To the driver's seat. It's just, I can't think of the author's name, but so thank you so much for sharing. But before I let you go, please share. What I want you to share is, how can our listeners connect with you? How can they connect with you, Mario?
Absolutely. I have my LinkedIn that I'm going to share with you. That way people can connect with me. I'm going to share my email, and of course, I'm going to share my company website so that if anybody's interested in chatting, learning more, I would love to help out anybody in any way possible. I want to see everybody succeed, and so to me, providing the next generation or other leaders with the same skill sets that have helped me succeed, it's a win-win scenario. And that to me is what I really want to pass on to others because, again, meeting Kim, meeting so many other wonderful people in my life that really took a leap of faith on me has been remarkable. And so I want to be able to pass on that same sort of kindness that I received. So I'll gladly share more of that information with Kim so that she can share it with everybody.
And if you don't mind, if you want to rattle something off right now, feel free to do it because everyone's listening. But we will get your information and put it because we do a blog with this and a video as well. And we'll put it all in on our YouTube channel where we have it. But we were saying, if you want to rattle it off, it's up to you.
Sure.
That's fine. So that listeners can hear it.
Perfect. Yeah, my LinkedIn is Mario Tovar Jr., which is wonderful. My email is mario.tovar@ccmctech.global. And then my website is just ccmctech.global. I would love to be able to share it. That's where you can find more information on me. My LinkedIn is going to have a ton of information on me and a lot of the reports that I do, and just sharing the passion that I have on trying to understand this complex world.
You are amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for saying yes. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Thank you for giving us the tidbits and the juicy tidbits that is, and the steps that we need when it comes to our confidence. Thank you again for being here. What a powerful, amazing conversation. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Mario. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We truly appreciate you and all that you share. I love the title of this episode. Give me 15 minutes to make you authentically confident. You gotta love it. I love it. Okay, so let's recap. Confidence. It isn't external. It's internal. So stop looking around thinking you're going to get confidence from the people that are around you. It's internal. It requires some work internal. So go in. You don't have to wait to feel ready. Believe me when I say you are already ready. You are ready right now. Self-trust builds confidence. When you're able to trust yourself, your being, right? Knowing who you are and being it. That is what builds confidence. That's self-trust. And small actions create big shifts. It's not the opposite. It's not the big things. And the most confident version of you is simply the most authentic version of you. See, that is why you hear me say all the time, you are you unapologetically. Remember this. You don't need to become someone else to be confident. No, not at all. You just need to fully be yourself. That's it. Because I know this. No one, absolutely no one, is better at being you than you. No one. And I dare you. No, I double dog dare you. Wait, I triple dog dare you to find someone who can do you better than you. Believe me, I would love to meet that person. I triple dog dare you to find them. So, of course, we can't leave or close this episode out without putting you into some action steps. Yes, this is not about listen. We're about taking action. Taking action. So here's what I want you to do today. Along with what Mario suggested, I want you to write down 3 strengths you usually downplay. See, me being loud, like I used to downplay that all the time. Now I'm loud and I'm proud. I sure am, right? So write down three strengths that you have that you usually downplay. I think people downplay themselves by acting shy, when I don't believe people are shy at all. It's just their way of trying to make an excuse to be in the room. So, okay, 3 things, 3 of your strengths, write them down, the 3 that you usually downplay. The second thing I want you to do is do one small action you've been procrastinating about because fear, right? You're afraid. It's in your face. Fear is in your face. So do one small action that you've been procrastinating because of fear, and speak one truth about yourself without apologizing. I already said it. I'm loud and I'm proud. Just do those 3 things, and I'm quite sure you will see confidence grow. Your confidence grow, because confidence grows through action, not waiting. I promise you. I promise you this. So with society's expectations and endless opinions, self-expression can feel intimidating, to say the least. But shrinking yourself was never the assignment, nor was it any part of the assignment. So don't get the assignment twisted. Shrinking was never part of your assignment. You are you unapologetically, period. Exclamation point. Either one, right? When you show up without pretense or hesitation, the world can't dull your light. No. They can't dim your brightness. So stop waiting. Stop shrinking. Stop doubting and step forward. Step boldly and authentically into being you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Mario. Thank you for saying yes and being on our podcast and sharing your wisdom with us today. We truly appreciate you. And I won't end any of my sessions without saying this to everyone who's listening. If this episode blessed you in the smallest way, please, right? Share it with someone who needs a confident boost. Please share it. As always, keep being you unapologetically. Ciao for now.